Hello everyone, hope you are enjoying the P block. Okay, so we have studied the 15th group in the periodic table, that is the nitrogen family, and also we have come across with the oxygen family, that is chalcogens, isn't it? And we have studied the oxygen as well as the sulfur. And in sulfur, today's topic is sulfur dioxide. We will see how sulfur dioxide is prepared and the properties, that is chemical and physical properties of sulfur dioxide. Okay, so first one is sulfur dioxide can be prepared by the simple method, which is sulfur plus oxygen will give you sulfur dioxide. Okay, that is simple preparation, that is sulfur plus oxygen gives sulfur dioxide. Okay, or in this is a small amount of sulfur trioxide is also formed. Okay, so a small amount of sulfur trioxide is also formed. So this is a simple preparation, but the direct combination of sulfur and oxygen will give you sulfur dioxide. Okay, now lab preparation, as I have already told you, there will be a lab preparation, then an industrial preparation or a small scale preparation, as well as sometimes large scale preparation is also there. So in the case of lab preparation, sulfur dioxide can be prepared by any sulfide. Sulfide means SO3 2 minus. Any sulfide, for example Na2SO3, sodium sulfide, or potassium sulfate, sulfate, no, sulfate is SO4, isn't it? Na2SO4 is sodium sulfate, whereas Na2SO3 is sodium sulfide. So any sulfide, this is an ionic equation, that's why. Any sulfide on treatment with dilute sulfuric acid. Since this is an ionic equation, I am writing this as H plus. Okay, so SO3 2 minus plus H plus will give you SO2 plus H2O. See, that is any sulfide on treatment with dilute sulfuric acid, you will get sulfur dioxide plus water. So by this method in the lab, mainly in the lab, you will prepare sulfur dioxide by this method. Okay. So next comes, so first is a simple preparation with direct oxidation, you will get sulfur dioxide. Second is a lab preparation. Any sulfide on treatment with dilute sulfuric acid will give you sulfur dioxide plus water. Understood? Now, third preparation is the industrial preparation. Industrial preparation means what? On a large scale process, or in large scale you want to prepare sulfur dioxide. So how you will prepare industrially the sulfur dioxide? See, industrially preparing sulfur dioxide is the sulfur dioxide you get as a byproduct from roasting method. Hope you are remembering the roasting method. What is roasting method? The sulfide ore is converted into its oxide ore, isn't it? The sulfide ore is converted into oxide ore by roasting. Roasting means strong heating in presence of air. That is roasting. We have studied two processes, that is calcination as well as roasting. Calcination means for the carbonate ore into the conversion to the oxide ore, that is in absence of air. Then this in the presence of air, in excess air, strong heating is required, that is roasting. So the sulfur dioxide, in that case you have seen, in the case of roasting, sulfur dioxide is one of the byproduct, isn't it? If you are remembering, I will have the same equation whether you are studying. For example, Cu2S, copper sulfide plus oxygen, that is roasting, will give you what? Copper oxide plus sulfur dioxide. See? So sulfur dioxide is getting as a byproduct there, or one of the product there. So in large scale processes, sulfur dioxide can be prepared by the roasting method. What you get the product as roasting, that you take it as industrial preparation of sulfur dioxide, or anything. For example, HGS, Cinnabar. The same equation, Cinnabar plus oxygen will give you HgO plus SO2. See, the SO2 is formed. So these two are the industrial. Again you can have many more sulfur ore on roasting will give you the sulfur dioxide and the corresponding oxide. So this is industrial preparation of what? Industrial preparation of sulfur dioxide. So pre-preparation, this is a simple preparation of direct oxidation. Second is a lab preparation, that is sulfide, any sulfate for that matter, sodium sulfate or potassium sulfate plus H plus means what? Dilute sulfuric acid. Okay. Since it's an ionic equation, I am writing only the ions and you will get sulfur dioxide plus water. And industrially preparing, it is getting as a byproduct in the roasting process. That is, when sulfide ores are converted into its oxide ore, you will get the corresponding sulfur dioxide. Understood? Right. Now, then comes the physical and chemical properties. So, these three preparations you have to keep in mind. And hope you are all maintaining the equation diary. Some of you people have forwarded to me, which was excellent. Hope everybody is doing the same. Okay. So, because by seeing all the equations, then you will get a little bit of this thing, that how I can make all these equations into my head and how I can recollect it, isn't it? So, one by one, from each class, after each class, you have to maintain that equations in that diary, so that you have to go through once in a while the equations just to get hang of that. Don't get disconnected with the equations. If you study organic also, you can come back into this equation diary for the inorganic equations. Just scribble it down when you get time. Okay, then. So, you have the preparation, then you have the physical and chemical properties. You know, sulfur dioxide is a pungent smell. We haven't done in the lab. Okay, sulfur dioxide, because it is pungent and it will get irritation. That's why we haven't done the second group. If you are remembering, you are not doing the second group elements, isn't it? By passing hydrogen sulfide. If you are remembering. So, that is why, because of the irritating nausea and all, you are not getting in the lab. That's all. So, sulfur dioxide is a colorless liquid which is having a pungent smell. Okay, and this is very well soluble in water. See, it is very well soluble in water. When you apply a pressure of 2 atmosphere, when you apply a pressure at 2 atmosphere at room temperature, what happens? It's soluble in water. Okay, so it's very well soluble in water and it liquefies. It liquefies at room temperature when the pressure is taken as 2 atmosphere. Okay, so that's all about the physical property. Soluble in, highly soluble in water, it liquefies at 2 atmosphere and it boils at 263 Kelvin, I think so, below 0 degree. Okay, so this is all about the sulfur dioxide. That is physical property. Okay, now coming to the chemical property. Physical properties are somewhat you have to keep in mind, that's all. They won't ask like that. So, then chemical properties, coming to chemical properties. Okay. Now, the first property is the reaction with water. The sulfur dioxide react with water to give not sulfuric acid but sulfurous acid, H2SO3. Normally, the children will write, here there is a mistake happening, that is sulfur dioxide plus water will give you H2SO4, they will write, that's wrong. But it is sulfurous acid. They will get sulfurous acid, not sulfuric acid. Okay. So, this is the first reaction, that is sulfur dioxide plus water will give you sulfurous acid. Okay. So, this is the first reaction. Now, coming to the second reaction. The reaction which I am going to write is similar for carbon dioxide also. Like sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide also gives the same reaction. That means, when the second reaction, the sulfur dioxide on treatment with NaOH, caustic soda, NaOH, okay, this NaOH, sodium hydroxide, you will, sulfur dioxide plus sodium hydroxide will give you Na2SO4, sodium sulfate. See, sodium sulfate plus water. Listen carefully. Sulfur dioxide, when on treated with an alkali, you will give the salt, that is Na2SO4 plus water. Which means what? Acid plus base will give you salt plus water, an analogy of that equation, neutralization reaction. In the same way, sulfur dioxide, which acts as an acidic oxide, isn't it? Acidic oxide or non-metallic oxide, which is being acidic, plus a base will give you salt plus water. You can remember like that. Now, this equation or this reaction carries on. What happens, you see, You got Na2SO4, right? The salt plus water, you get the product, isn't it? This is a product. That product I am writing it here. That is Na2SO4 plus H2O plus on adding or passing sulfur dioxide more into it, it will form NaHSO4, that is sodium bisulfate. See, you have to balance it, that is up to you. Okay, just I am writing the equations, that's all. So, this equation is similar to the equation which is given by carbon dioxide. So, if a question is asked, the similarity between, give a reaction in which the similarity between carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, you can have this equation, both equations. That is, when sulfur dioxide is treated with NaOH, you will get Na2SO4 plus water, and this on passing again sulfur dioxide will give you sodium bisulfate. Correct? Okay. Now, then, so this is the second equation, the second reaction. Okay, now we are passing on to the third reaction. Okay, so this is similar to the carbon dioxide, where sulfur dioxide also has a similar reaction with carbon dioxide. Okay, then the next reaction is, see, sulfur dioxide reacts with chlorine. See, the third reaction, only 4 reactions are there. The third reaction is sulfur dioxide react with chlorine in presence of a catalyst, that is charcoal. So, sulfur dioxide reacts with chlorine in presence of charcoal to form SO2Cl2. See, SO2Cl2. That is sulfuryl chloride. Sulfuryl chloride. So, what is getting? SO2Cl2. Got it? That means sulfur dioxide plus chlorine will give you SO2Cl2, that is sulfuryl chloride. Okay. Now one more reaction in connection with this is sulfur dioxide plus oxygen. Sulfur dioxide plus oxygen will give you what? Sulfur trioxide. This is in this reaction also you are using vanadium pentoxide as a catalyst. So 2 catalytic reactions here they specify it. One is both are with the nonmetals. Okay. One is chlorine and other is oxygen gas. When chlorine, it add on to form an adduct which is called as SO2Cl2, that is sulfuryl chloride, and with oxygen V2O5, vanadium pentoxide as a catalyst, that is forming sulfur trioxide. And this is the main step for the preparation of sulfuric acid, which is called as contact process. Sulfuric acid in the contact process, the rate determining step or the slowest step, that's why you get this reversible. The slowest step or rate determining step is this reaction, where sulfur dioxide plus oxygen will give you sulfur trioxide. Got it? So this is the third equation. So first was what? First was the reaction with water to form sulfurous acid. Second is with alkali and water. The same will go for carbon dioxide also. The third is with oxygen gas and chlorine gas. And the last reaction, you got it right? And the last reaction is, you have to study this reaction with more, more likeness. See, whenever we study an equation, you have to get it into your mind, right? You have to get it in and you have to reciprocate that. So it is your choice, or it is upon you how you make that possible. It's very important. You can't study all these 100 equations by heart, isn't it? So for every equation there must be some connecting area or connecting or striking thing which you can have in your mind relating to anything. For example, if you take boiling point or melting point or something like that, you can have somebody's age or somebody's age minus 10 or something like mnemonics. You have to make homework on your own. How you can reproduce all these equations or how you can remember all these equations, you can as easily as possible. Because if equations you have to study by heart, it will be very, very difficult. Okay, so that is why I am telling you, because organic is coming. So organic also so many equations are there. So to be comfortable with the equations, I told you to make the equation diary. Slowly you go through it. That's it. All of a sudden you can't make the equations clear. That's it. You can't have all the equations right. So by writing and writing or thinking how to get it, make your own way how to get it, then it will be easy for you. For every person it is different. For me, I will think in different way how to get this equation for me. Like I will think something else, like how to get the equations easily for me, which it connects with me, right? So everybody it will be different. So make your own thing. Okay. Now coming to the last reaction, which is very, very important, that is when moist sulfur dioxide, listen, this is a very important equation. When moist sulfur dioxide is there, it acts as a powerful reducing agent. See? It acts as a powerful reducing agent. When moist sulfur dioxide is there, this moist sulfur dioxide is capable of reducing some compounds. Okay, so that is why it is called as a powerful reducing agent. That means what? For example, question can be asked, write an equation show that sulfur dioxide is a powerful reducing agent. Okay, so it will reduce Fe3 plus sulfur dioxide, and you said moist, right? So you have to write water. So like this you have to connect it. Always through connections only you can remember. So if for me I remember like that, this like it is moist, so I can connect it with water. Simply by hearting, I won't get that. So if you are doing that, you have to have such an idea. Okay. So then this is reduction. So reduction means what? Reduction means gaining of electrons. So it will form Fe2 plus. See, Fe3 plus gets reduced to Fe2 plus. Now if it is a reducing agent, it reduces this sulfur dioxide to what? To sulfate ions, SO4 2 minus. Correct. And oxygen is there. Am I right? Sorry, hydrogen. So plus 4H plus. See? That means this is reduced. That is plus 3 to plus 2. Now what about SO2? Listen, I will talk about the oxidation number. Minus 2. So it is plus 4. And it must be oxidized, right? It must be oxidized. So this plus 4 will be increasing. So for SO4 2 minus, you will have X plus minus 2, that is minus 8 is equal to minus 2. So X is equal to 6. So from plus 4 to plus 6, oxidation number increases, thereby sulfur dioxide gets oxidized. Reducing agent means what? It reduces Fe3 plus, or it reduces another compound which itself gets oxidized. You know that, right? You know that. So sulfur dioxide gets oxidized to sulfate. Correct. That means oxidation number 6 and this is 4. It is increasing. So it is oxidizing. Fe3 plus to 2 plus decreasing. So it is reduction. So that is the point. Correct. So this is why moist sulfur dioxide acts as a powerful reducing agent. Correct. Then the second reaction, one more reaction, which normally you will say this reaction can be used as a test for detecting sulfur dioxide. This reducing agent, the moist sulfur dioxide, which act as a powerful reducing agent. See, it acts as a powerful reducing agent. The reaction which we are going to study can be used as a test for sulfur dioxide. What is it? Test for sulfur dioxide. Now what is the test? Since it is reducing, it decolorizes, observation, okay, it decolorizes acidified KMNO4 solution. You know what is the color of KMNO4 solution? Purple color. Now how, if you put sulfur dioxide into it, it will decolorize. Decolorize means the purple color will vanish and it forms a colorless solution. And that observation shows that the sulfur dioxide is a reducing agent. Clear? So, board exam repeated questions is asked, that is, give a test for sulfur dioxide. So, this is the test for sulfur dioxide. You have to observe it, right? Then only you can have a chemical test. There is no observation. You can't write that as a chemical test. To distinguish, you have to observe. So, this is a good observation, that is, that the color of the KMnO4 vanishes, or decolorization of KMnO4 solution, which states that sulfur dioxide has a reducing power. Clear? Now we will see how the equation goes. Okay. MnO4, I think in some lab, this thing, the decolorization happens, right? In some test, I am not remembering correctly. KMnO4 test is there, the decolorization. Okay, like that. So, ionic reaction MnO4 minus, or you can write KMnO4. Ionic means ions. Instead of minus, I can have KMnO4. But textbook, it is having ionic equation. That is why I put the ionic equation. So, KMnO4 plus SO2. Since it is a moist this thing, I can write it as H2OC. Now, what will you get? It will get, sulfur dioxide gets oxidized because it is a reducing agent. So, sulfur dioxide gets sulfate ion, correct, the same as the above one, plus the MnO4 gets reduced to Mn2 plus. See, reduction happens. That is SO4 2 minus plus Mn2 plus H plus. That is say H plus. You just balance it, okay. Now, see, I will tell you, this that is the plus 4 is increasing to plus 6. That means it is oxidizing. Correct. Now this is reducing. How it is reducing? MnO4 minus. That is minus 2. So x minus 8 is equal to minus 1. So x is equal to 7. The oxidation state of Mn is 7 plus 7. Now the plus 7 is reduced to what? Plus 7 is reduced to plus 2. So the plus 7 decreases by plus 2. You got it? You know the oxidation reduction, right? Oxidation reduction, redox reactions by oxidation reduction method and half reaction method. So this is plus 7 is getting reduced to plus 2. That is, oxidation number decreases, which means reduction. This is increasing, which means oxidation. So this is the test for sulfur dioxide. Clear? This is very, very important. Repeated test for sulfur dioxide, or even the same test can be written for the reducing property also. No problem. So you study only one thoroughly. The both can act for both the reducing agent as well as the test for sulfur dioxide. But the other is easy for study. That is Fe3 plus will converted to Fe2 plus, and sulfur dioxide is converted to sulfate. That's all. Then here it is water because it is moist. There H plus is liberated. So that way you connect the equation. Okay. Connectivity is always very, very important in all parts of your life. Not in chemistry, in your life itself, the connectivity plays a very, very important role. Okay. So that is sulfur dioxide. There comes the end of the chemical reactions of sulfur dioxide. It's very easy, right? So now you feel easy while you have come across with all these 15th and 16th group. Now 17th and 18th will be very, very easy, because if you know thoroughly the trends and the chemical properties, how you go with it or get along with it, it will be very easy. That's why I always tell, after each class, you just go and sit your home and do your homework. You have to prepare your notes on your own, then only you will be thorough with it. Just simply seeing the video or seeing the class, and if you think that you are able to make it, just prove it. That's all. Okay. Now comes the structure. And structure is also have a similarity like ozone. If you have covered the ozone portion, you will know that. See how it goes. That means when sulfur, ozone is like what? Ozone, double bond O and single bond O. The same is this, that is sulfur dioxide is this. See? This is the structure. Now, how you put the lone pair of electrons, Lewis structure. Here 2, 4, 6, 8. Isn't it? Here it is 2, 4, 6, 8. Now here 2, 4, 6, 8. Isn't it? Okay. Now this is just similar to the ozone structure. Ozone, you draw two structures, isn't it? Ozone. So in the same way, you can have in resonance with. This is what? In resonance with. So we are going to write the resonating structure. So how you will write? You will write a resonating structure like this. See? 2, 4, 6, 8. And here 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So this structure is in resonance with this structure. Now how will you write the hybrid? Just for an information. How will you write the, because these two bond lengths are equal. That is why you call it as resonance. So you will call this as this is the electron cloud. So this is a hybrid. Okay, just read that. We will come this resonance more with organic chemistry. Okay, so this is the structure of sulfur dioxide. Clear? So that's all about sulfur dioxide, and I particularly said that in all these compounds we are discussing about ammonia or nitric acid or nitrogen or oxygen or ozone, and now comes the sulfur dioxide. You have to just study 2 or 3 important uses. Okay, important uses, and nothing is coming in your mind. You just write it used as a lab reagent. That's all. Just for that. Okay. So here also you can say liquid sulfur dioxide. Liquid sulfur dioxide is used as a lab reagent. A very good word. A very good word. Okay, for the uses. Sulfuric acid, lab reagent. Nitric acid, lab reagent. You can write, but still go for a better ones. If it's not getting, you can write this. Still write. Okay, no problem. So liquid sulfur dioxide is a lab reagent. Why lab reagent? Why? Because it can dissolve the organic things or organic substance. It can dissolve organic substance by sulfur dioxide, and also in petroleum industry, etc. So 2, 3 uses, you just go through it, make it prepared. Okay, for at least 2 uses. Maybe they can ask the uses. Okay, so you have to make all the nook and corner. You have to study in that textbook, which I say it's a Bible. This is all about sulfur dioxide. Is it clear? Then, one more thing you have to study in the sulfur dioxide is the oxo acids. Just the structure is only demanding, that is oxo acids. No preparation, nothing, only the structure. What do you mean by oxo acids? What do you mean by oxo acids? Sulfur plus oxygen plus hydrogen. Acid means it needs hydrogen also. Then oxo means it needs oxygen also. So oxo acids means some of the important oxo acids you have to study is H2SO3. Okay, H2SO3, you know, sulfurous acid. Then H2SO4, sulfuric acid, correct? Then H2S2O7. This is called as oleum. Okay, oleum, or you can call it as, oleum is also known as pyrosulfuric acid. What is it? Pyrosulfuric acid. Okay, and one more you have to study, H2S2O8. That is peroxo disulfuric acid. So these 4 oxo acids, only the structure you have to study. Correct? Now we will see how you draw the structure. And believe me, in all the board exams till now, one structure definitely they will ask from a P block. Definitely. Keep my word. Definitely any structure. So many structures will be now coming. Now oxides of nitrogen they have deleted. So it will be important. The halogens also there are oxo acid structures. So oxo acids of sulfur is important. That is only the 4 you can score marks. Okay, so just study the structure of this 4. Now we will see one by one. We will see one by one. First we will see what is sulfurous acid. Okay, don't you see sulfurous. Sulfurous acid. You know the preparation, right? SO2 plus water will give you H2SO3. Now see the structure. How you will make the structure. See, for this structure also you can have many ideas. to get the structure correct. Okay, so for mine, H2SO4, you know, S is the central atom. Okay. Now, always remember, in most 90 to 95%, if there is an H and O, this H will be attached to O. In very rare cases like in phosphorus, we can have one direct H bond. Otherwise, almost all this will have an OH bond rather than H bond. So before going into drawing or the structure, just go through it, how it makes. Okay, so this is what? This is 3 oxygen. So one oxygen is double bond. Okay, now second oxygen, since there is 2 H, one is OH and other. There are 2 OH groups in this. That is why it is acidic in nature. Okay, from this OH group, the H is giving out. That is acidicity. Okay, and then OH 1, 2, 3, 3 OH, then 2 H and 1 S, and it contains a lone pair of electrons. Here there must be some mistakes happens, because you will think that okay, this is 1S, this is 2H and this is 3H. Okay, that's okay, and you will forget about this electron. But if you have to put this lone pair of electrons, then only the structure will be valid. Remember that. Okay, so this is the structure of H2SO3. Understood? Now you will go for H2SO4. What is it? H2SO4, you know it is sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid. So how it will go? That is sulfur. The same thing, only one difference is there. That is O, double bond O, and instead of 4O, you know, the apex will be also oxygen. Okay, the rest is same. See, this is sulfuric acid. That is SOH2SO4. See, this is simple. Okay, so this is the structure of sulfuric acid. Got it? Now we will see H2S2O7. What is it? Oleum. Oleum you will study in the preparation of sulfuric acid by contact process. But however, that topic is deleted from your chapter. The next topic was that sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid, only the preparation they have cut it down, but the properties we have to study. So in the preparation only, you will come along with oleum and all. Okay, so that is oleum, that is H2S2O7. Now see how it goes. Okay, now 2 S are there. So S, here it is double bond, and here it is again double bond, and here there are 2 OH. Remember, there are 2 OH. One is like this and one is like this. Isn't it? Sulfuric acid is like this. Got it? When I draw last time, I put like this, ulta. Now I am putting it like this. So, same structure. Okay. Now what will happen? Again one more, the same structure, that is double bond O. Then here it is OH and here it is OH. Now what will happen? This water molecule is eliminated. See, H2O. And what it will form? There forms an oxygen bond. See? This and this. The 2 sulfuric acid is linked by oxygen bond or an oxygen atom by removing a water molecule. So it is easy to study. You know sulfuric acid. You draw 2 sulfuric acid in such a way that if you eliminate a molecule of water, that also OH, not this O, because there is no H there. So OH you have to draw in such a way that you have to eliminate a molecule of water and you will get a oxygen bond here. Correct? Okay, that is oleum. It's very easy. Now, if once you know oleum, how will you have H2S2O8? That is peroxo disulfuric acid. How will you get? Just you put one more oxygen here. That's all. See? Very simple. But if you know oleum, if you know sulfuric acid, oleum is easy. See how it goes in a chain. If you know sulfuric acid, you can have the structure of oleum. If you know oleum, then the oleum, then you can have this peroxo disulfuric acid. That means only the difference is only between one oxygen atom, right? So that oxygen atom you make this bridge. Connect with this bond. That's all. So hope you are clear with the structures. The structures are very, very important. Believe me, very, very important. Any one or two structures, at least one structure, it will be in board exam. Take it from me. Okay. So this is about the structure of oxo acids. Okay. That is all about what the oxo acids. Just the structure you have to study. That's all. Now the last portion of this group 16 element is sulfuric acid. The last one is sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4. And how will you draw it? That is double bond O, OH, OH. Very simple, isn't it? It is sulfuric acid. But the preparation side they have deleted. This year they have cut down this preparation side. That is what I was telling you about the vanadium pentoxide catalyst, isn't it, in the contact process. So that they have deleted, and they straight away we are going to the properties of sulfuric acid. Okay, it's very simple. It's just a small topic. Okay, so we will see what are the properties of sulfuric acid. See, sulfuric acid, the properties you know. Sulfuric acid is a colorless, dense, oily liquid. You are all familiar with sulfuric acid in the lab, isn't it? Dilute sulfuric acid and concentrated sulfuric acid as well. The fuming sulfuric acid, isn't it? It's a dense liquid. That is why if you are doing the brown ring test, you are adding the sulfuric acid. That's a vital question. You are adding the sulfuric acid through the sides of the test tube. It will come down and the solution will come up, and the junction of that a brown ring is formed, the complex. Now why the sulfuric acid is going down? Because it is a denser liquid. So that is a property of the sulfuric acid, and specific gravity also is 1.2 or something. So that's all, just reading. Now the main thing is the sulfuric acid on adding with water. What happens? What happens when sulfuric acid is added to water? You know, if it is a concentrated sulfuric acid, then it is a highly exothermic reaction, isn't it? Highly exothermic reaction. So very much amount of heat is liberated. So how will you dilute an acid? You can add acid into water or water into acid. How you will dilute? How will you dilute? Yes. That means you add acid into water by constant stirring. Isn't it? Isn't it? Or you add water into acid. No. You add acid into water by constant stirring. Now why it is constant stirring? Because in order to avoid the delocalized heating. Delocalized means to a particular point, if the heat is applied or heat is there, it will burst. The vessel or the test tube or the beaker will burst. That is why by constant stirring you add acid into water. Okay. So you add slowly the acid into water by constant stirring. I said it right now. You add acid into water, or I said the reverse. Okay, no problem. You know that. That is, if you want to dilute it, you add acid into water by constant stirring. I think I have done it in the reverse way. No problem. You know that. Okay, so exothermic reaction means a large amount of heat is given out. Now we will see. You all know the sulfuric acid. We see many reactions. Sulfuric acid is there. Even today we have studied the sulfite ion plus sulfuric acid, isn't it? So in almost all the reactions we are seeing the sulfuric acid. Now the reactivity of sulfuric acid is due to mainly 4 reasons. Got it? The reactivity of sulfuric acid is mainly due to 4 reasons. The first reason is it is having, or it is low volatile. The low volatility of sulfuric acid makes the sulfuric acid reactive. That is the first. 4 reasons are there. The second reason is reacts or it dissolves in water or reactions with aqueous solution. I can write reactions in aqueous solutions. Okay, that is also one point. A reaction in aqueous solution. Okay. Now third is concentrating the acids. Okay, concentration of the acid. We can write as concentration of the acids. Concentration of the acid, and it has a strong acidic solution. It will make strong acidic solution. And the fourth is it is a very good oxidizing agent. See, these are the four properties which make sulfuric acid reactive. What is it? The low volatility, isn't it? The low volatility, then the strong acidic character. The strong acidic character, then its strong affinity for water, that is aqueous solution. Its strong affinity to water, that is why it is an acid, right? Strong affinity for water, and then it is an oxidizing agent. Okay. So we will see one by one here. Okay. That is low volatility, then strong affinity for water, strong affinity for water, then strong acidic character and oxidizing agent. So we will see one by one the characteristics. Okay. Now we will see one by one. First is the strong affinity with water. That means aqueous solution. See, the sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4, when it reacts with water, being a very good acid, a strong acid, it liberates hydrogen. But remember, it liberates hydrogen in two steps. That means, first it will form, this is liquid and aqueous, first it will form H2SO4 leaving one hydrogen. That means H3O positive plus HSO4 minus. See, it forms a bisulfate ion first. It reacts in two steps, or it liberates its hydrogen in two steps. That is why it is called as a dibasic acid. So first is H3O positive plus HSO4 minus, and its Ka value is greater, very much greater than 10. You know what is Ka? Ka1, the first step, Ka1, that is the dissociation constant of an acid. Now greater the dissociation constant, greater is the acid. So that is why you call sulfuric acid as a very strong acid. Clear? And in second step, what it will you do? The HSO4 minus, isn't it? The HSO4 minus again combine with water to form what? H3O positive plus SO4 2 minus. See? And the Ka value is 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 2. Very small. But since this Ka is very high, that is very more than 10, then it can simply or easily liberate the hydrogen ion. Once it forms a bisulfate, then it will easily forms what? The sulfate ion. That is why it is a dibasic acid. It can donate 2 hydrogen from sulfuric acid. That is why it is called as a dibasic acid. Clear? Okay. This is dissociation constant, and again this is A2, second dissociation constant. This is simple. Now, if you know like this sulfate and bisulfate, the sulfuric acid forms 2 types of salts. What are the 2 types of salts you know? That is, one is a normal salt and other is an acidic salt. What is the difference between a normal salt and an acidic salt? Normal salt means, for example, calcium sulfate or barium sulfuric acid salt, right? I am talking about the salt of sulfuric acid, so it is sulfate, or potassium sulfate. So this is a normal salt, whereas this is an acidic salt. See, what is the difference? For example, if I say NaHSO4, it's an acidic salt, where Na2SO4 is a normal salt. What is the difference? In Na2SO4, there is no hydrogen atom, isn't it? But in acidic, there must be at least one hydrogen atom. So the sulfuric acid can form 2 types of salt. One is a normal salt and other is an acidic salt, which is explained by the strong affinity with water. You know that. First it will form a bisulfate and then it forms a sulfate. So two types of salts are formed. One is a normal salt and other is an acidic salt. Clear? Now, the next point is about the low volatility. Low volatility means what? Volatile means, high volatility means what? The boiling point is very low. That means if you give a slight temperature, it will boil. But low volatility means boiling point is high. That means the low volatility. Now, what is the importance of this volatility? Since sulfuric acid is low volatile, it can produce high volatile acids from the corresponding salt. What is it? Since sulfuric acid is low volatile, it can prepare high volatile acids. For example, see, in case of a metal halides, X is for fluorine, chlorine or even nitrate you can have. Okay, F minus, Cl minus and NO3 minus. Now, M means a metal. Okay. Now, when it reacts with sulfuric acid, what you will get? You will get high volatile acid like HX plus MSO4. Listen, being a low volatile, it can produce a high volatile liquid. For example, copper chloride. Listen, copper chloride on treatment with sulfuric acid, we will give hydrochloric acid. We just balance it. Okay, that's up to you. Hydrochloric acid plus CuSO4. See, you know hydrochloric acid is a highly volatile acid. That's again a Viva question. In a flame test, why concentrated HCl is added rather than concentrated sulfuric acid or nitric acid? Because the three purposes are same. That's a strong acid. By why you make it with hydrochloric acid? Then the answer was, what was the answer? The hydrochloric acid being volatile, it will get into the vapor state more easily. Then you can have the flame. That is why it is with hydrochloric acid, the flame test is done. Got it? So that is about the low volatility. Correct? Clear? Understood? Now, the next is, you know, concentrated sulfuric acid. Have you heard about this concentrated sulfuric acid, which act as a dehydrating agent? What do you mean by dehydrating agent? It will absorb the moisture from it, isn't it? So that is dehydrating agent. So concentrated sulfuric acid act as a very good dehydrating agent. The condition is the substance which is getting dehydrated does not react with sulfuric acid. That's all. If there is no reaction happening, then it will dehydrate or it will absorb the moisture from that substance and acting as a dehydrating agent. For example, you know sugar, isn't it? C12H22O11. Charring of sugar. That means it will form a black carbon, isn't it? If a sugar is heated, you will get what? Black carbon plus water, isn't it? This is example of what? Concentrated sulfuric acid as a dehydrating agent. It's very easy. Okay. And the last reaction is sulfuric acid act as an oxidizing agent. So when you talk about the oxidizing property of sulfuric acid, it is between what? Nitric acid and phosphoric acid. It is a moderate oxidizing agent. You call it as moderate. It means it is not so strong and it is not so less. It acts as a moderate oxidizing agent, sulfuric acid. Or it can oxidize, for example, copper. It can oxidize copper to copper sulfate, isn't it? Copper sulfate. Copper sulfate plus sulfur dioxide plus water. See? Or, for example, carbon. Or you can write the sulfur. Sulfur plus H2SO4. You will give sulfur dioxide plus water. Correct? Or if you say carbon plus sulfuric acid, what you will get? You will get carbon, no? So it is carbon dioxide plus water plus sulfur dioxide. So these are the examples of what sulfuric acid act as a moderate oxidizing agent. Okay, then that's all with the sulfuric acid and the group 16 element. So group 16 is also over. Just prepare the notes. Now we will pass on to next session, that is group 17 in the next class. Okay. Now uses of sulfuric acid, you know. So many, a numerous number of uses are for sulfuric acid. Okay. That means for a dehydrating agent, oxidizing agent, volatility makes a powerful volatile acids, isn't it? Lab reagent, in petroleum industry, in paints, in whatever, in metallurgy, everything sulfuric acid can be used. And there is a saying for sulfuric acid that it was saying that a nation's industrial strength is measured on its consumption and the uses of sulfuric acid. Industrially there is a saying. Okay, so many purposes are there. Just study one or two. From this itself you can have that oxidizing agent, dehydrating agent, etc. Okay, so that's all. So there comes the end of the 16th group. Next session we will pass on to the 17th group, that is halogens. So till then, thank you.